Hello everyone, and welcome back to another forecast update. I hope you are doing well and having a great Monday so far. And in tonight's forecast update, we're going to be talking about the winter storm that will impact portions of the south central United States later this week. And that storm will move to the east again later this week and potentially impact portions of the Midwest, Mid-South, and even the Mid-Atlantic. And that'll be the main topic for tonight's video, and I'll have timestamps up to so y'all can go to any point on the video y'all want to see. And towards the end of the video, we'll be talking about our winter storm that is ongoing right now across portions of the Mid-Atlantic, and we'll just be discussing some of the impacts that are ongoing right now and what we could potentially see over the next 4 to 48 hours. So let's go ahead and get started with tonight's update. First, starting out in the south central United States and looking at the European weather model here, and this is the 06Z run from today. And we continue this on here, and then snow already starts to fall across portions of Colorado, New Mexico, maybe Tuesday night into Wednesday. And then we continue that on even further. And then by Thursday morning, snow starts to break out actually across portions of New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma. And then you have ice towards central Texas there, and even into northern Louisiana as well by Thursday morning. And that storm heads on to the east and even starts to impact portions of, again, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, even snow all the way up to Kansas as well, and into even Nebraska by late Thursday night. And then again, looking over here, an all-out snowstorm is pretty much ongoing across portions of the Mid-South, even into Arkansas, Missouri, northern Mississippi, and then you have an ice storm into Alabama, again, Mississippi as well, and then that snow heads into the Mid-South and even portions of the Midwest and even Ohio Valley, and then that will continue on to the east, and that moves out of the frame by late Friday night. And then we'll talk about the southeast in just a second, but that is again the European weather model there. And then if we go back here and look at the latest GFS weather model, and so it is still loading. It's only 96 hours out, but we can still look at this just a little bit here. So we continue this on at the same time frame, shows snow a little bit farther to the north into Texas and Oklahoma, and then has an ice storm kind of going across southern Arkansas into northern Louisiana, again late Thursday night into early on Friday, and then that switches to mostly rain. Then again you have snow across portions of the Midwest into the Mid-South, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, southeastern Iowa, Illinois, even into Tennessee again, and Kentucky, even into Indiana as well. And that's as far as that goes right there. But again, that is shifted a little bit stronger just with the latest 12Z run from the 06Z run. So that's just something to watch as well. And then finally, the last model we'll look at for the south central United States is the European AI model. And so before we start looking at this, I know this looks like all rain right here, but it's actually just how the model looks right now. It's just average precipitation, and so it won't have those like pink and orange colors or the blue colors representing winter weather. It'll just show all green here or all red into these areas depending on how heavy the precipitation is. So if we continue this on here, it has that low pressure quite a bit farther to the south, and so you would get more snow into these areas here. If we look at our temperatures here, you could have snow all the way into northern Louisiana, showing up on the latest European AI model. And so it had that low pressure basically into the Gulf of Mexico that would continue on, and you would have snow across much of these areas here, but mostly a kind of wintry mix down here into these areas. And then again, snow looks like it's possible all the way up into portions of the Midwest and Mid-South as well, and that would move out by late Friday night to early Saturday, and that moves out of frame into the eastern U.S. And we'll talk about the eastern U.S. in just 1 second. Now looking at the eastern U.S. and the southeast for our upcoming system late this week. And so if we go to midday Friday, again you have snow breaking out across portions of the Mid-South. And so on the latest European weather model, it has this system again being quite weak, and you just don't have all that cold air moving down farther to the south and getting funneled into the system, and you don't have a lot of precipitation with this overall. And so that will continue on to the east, and you could see a little bit of snow maybe later this week into the Appalachians and Ohio Valley, possibly, if this system was just to show up just like this. But again, I do think this will change again and again, really, as we get later towards the end of this week and towards even the middle of this week. But that would make this just a weak system, and that would finally move out later this weekend and just be mainly a rain event for much of the southeast and just a little bit of a snow event there. And so if we look at the GFS, and this is actually going to be far enough out where we can look at the 12Z GFS here, so I haven't looked at it, so this will be my first time looking at it as well. And so it would have a little bit stronger low pressure than the European weather model and deliver a snow event farther to the north as well, because you're going to have that northern energy there and that southern energy way down here. And so that would again be kind of an ice storm for the north, really the Carolinas and northern Georgia. And then you have snow again all the way up here in the Great Lakes into the Ohio Valley, and that will continue on and dump even more snow into the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic, and then be a full-on almost blizzard there, and nor'easter for the northeast there, maybe late this coming weekend. So again, this is going to change a lot. If you look at the previous run before that, has this way down here. Run before that, again up farther to the north. Run before that, back again. So it's just going to change a lot, guys. And I think we have a lot to figure out from now, even to Wednesday and Thursday. So once we can finally get down the track of this, maybe farther to the south, central United States, then we can start to focus more on the northeast. So that again is just something to consider there. And then if we finally look at the European AI model again, same thing here. It will not show snow, just precipitation rates there. And again, would have that low pressure more to the south towards the coast there, and that would bring some snow into some of these areas. And then again, you have snow across these areas here into the Ohio Valley and portions of the Great Lakes into the Mid-Atlantic as well. And that would be more of a winter storm for these areas, a little bit farther to the south into the Carolinas and even into Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, maybe even northern Georgia as well. And that would finally move off, and that even strengthens a little bit more and goes to a 999 millibar low pressure late Friday night to early on Saturday. So that is again the latest European AI model for today. And finally, looking at our winter storm across parts of the Mid-Atlantic. And so really over the next couple of hours, you're going to have some snow again across portions of the Mid-Atlantic and the Ohio Valley. And so you have a little bit of ice mixing in with this as well, and sleet, but nothing major at this time. The worst of the ice has already fallen, and quite a bit of power outages have shown up across portions of Kentucky and really the Ohio Valley and Mid-South as a whole, just from this ice, and even into Virginia as well. I've seen some power outages show up there. And so that'll continue on, and that low moves out into the Atlantic, and then you have some back-end snow behind this to Delaware, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, Appalachian Mountains, Virginia there, and then into New Jersey, and that would finally move out again into Delaware as well by late tonight to early tomorrow, and that finally moves out by early tomorrow on Tuesday. Now if we look at our ensemble members for the EPS ensemble, and so here's our winter storm we're dealing with right now across portions of the Mid-Atlantic, and that moves out. And then if we go to later this week into Thursday, you finally have that signal start showing up far into the Gulf and off the coast of Texas right there. And then you finally have those members pop up where we can see those low pressures. And so that will continue on to the east there. And it looks like on the EPS ensembles, it keeps most of these, if not all of these members, into the Gulf of Mexico into at least early Friday. So that would help with a more southern snow event on the European if you would have cold air farther to the south as well. But that will continue on, and then the members start to spread out a little bit as you get into Friday night into Saturday across the southeast, and then you have a spread here as you get into Saturday morning. You have one member way up here, but that's just one member, not a couple. It's just one. But you have the majority of members off the coast of the Carolinas, and then that would go over the Panhandle, Florida potentially. And then it does start to get uncertain as we get into this weekend. You have just a couple strong members, but mostly weak members across these areas. So the main thing is, if this system can continue to strengthen as it moves to the east, then that would bring more of a snow event, or a heavier snow event. That would be the case across some of these areas. But if it's weaker, then you'll have some probably rain. You'll have rain into mostly some of the areas into the southeast, but you'll have maybe some light snow. But if you have a stronger low pressure, that cold air is able to basically go around that circulation there, and it's able to grab it better, and you're going to have snow farther to the south most of the time. Not all the time, but you're just going to have more cold air funneling in instead of just it being kind of wasted, you could say, farther to the north. So that would continue on, and really we don't know what all would happen later this coming weekend. It's just kind of up in the air right now, so we'll have to continue to watch that and see how that plays out. And then if we look at the GEFS ensembles here, and we'll go to the 06Z run because the 12Z is just now coming out. So there's our winter storm we're dealing with right now. That would move on out. And then you look here, here's our members, and these are a little bit more scattered than the EPS ensembles are, and that would have that track more towards the coast. Not towards the coast, it is at the coast right now, but it is showing it farther up into the states compared to the EPS ensembles, and so that will continue on there. And then you have a few members way up here, but here is our general area for that low pressure to move. And so I think we'll have more of a track like this where it follows again kind of the coast and moves on out there. And you do have a couple of stronger members here, but mostly weak members, so that would mean again not as much of a heavy snow event for some of these areas here, but more of a heavier snow event for some of these areas right here into the mid-south and south-central United States. And then that finally moves out again by late Saturday into early Sunday this coming weekend. Now if we look at our 500 millibar vorticity, and this allows us to see kind of our energy behind these systems and where we could watch out, or where we need to watch out, for these systems. And so if we can continue this on here, here's our system, our winter storm that impacted portions of the Midwest and Ohio Valley, and then there's it moving off to the east there. And then we have our other system we'll have to watch way out here into the southwestern United States. And then if we continue this on here even further on the European model, this energy kind of hangs out here into the southwest United States. Then we have more energy from the north finally coming down, and so the big question here is how quickly this is able to pick this other energy up, and if so, kind of where it might eject, if that would make sense. And so on the European model, it has this mostly being strung out and basically stretched out, you could say, and that would not make for a very strong or mature system when it would move to the east, and it would just be more of a weaker system. And then again, that just gets that strung out and moves out there. But on the we'll look at the GFS in just a second, but just keep in mind what this looks like and we'll compare that. But this would have this energy just kind of hanging around here a little bit longer, and if this energy is farther to the southeast, then I would personally say that it would probably be able to be a little bit stronger. So if you could see this area right here, let me get my marker out. If you could see this area right here being more into this area right here, then I could definitely see a stronger low pressure coming out of this. But I just don't see extremely strong, not extremely, but I don't see a stronger low pressure system coming out of this. So if it would be something like this, if it would turn out like this, because you just don't have a good not pattern, but you don't have a good kind of path for this to go to strengthen as well. So then if we look at the GFS for our again 500 millibar vorticity in the mid levels of the atmosphere, continue this on here. Here's our energy, dies a little bit farther to the south, and then finally gets picked up and again ejected across these areas. And so this would again be a little bit stronger. And as you can see in these areas right here, you can tell how that's a lot more, again, it is still strung out and stretched out, you could say, but you have that more strung out across the central US instead of from Texas to, let's say, the mid-Atlantic. And so that would be a more positively tilted scenario still. It's still positively tilted either way, but it's still leaning towards more of a neutral to positive tilt with that, instead of just a flat out extremely positively tilted trough that would barely even strengthen at all. So that's just something to watch there for the latest 12Z run. And then finally looking at our severe weather threat for today. And so if we look at the southeastern US, mainly into Florida and Georgia here, into southern Georgia and into the Big Bend of Florida, we have a marginal risk for today. And then if we look at our tornado risk, we just have a 2% tornado risk into these areas here, into southern Georgia and portions of the, again, Big Bend of Florida and a small section of the Panhandle of Florida. Then if we look at our wind risk, we have a 5% wind risk into these areas here, into, again, southern Georgia and the Panhandle, a Big Bend of Florida there. And then looking at our hail risk, we do not have a hail risk for today's severe weather setup. Now looking at the HRRR weather model here, and storms are already ongoing across portions of Georgia and Florida right now, and those will continue on to the east, and really by 1 or 2 p.m. today on Monday, those storms will finally move out of Georgia, and then you could see the re-intensification of this line into the peninsula of Florida there, and you have that line again strengthening up by 3, 4, and 5 p.m. today, and so that will continue on, and you finally have that weakening by maybe later this evening into tonight, and then finally by, I would say, about 11 p.m. tonight, 12 a.m. in the morning, or 1 a.m. in the morning, you have most of that precipitation moved out of there, and that tornado risk has pretty much diminished all across those areas. And so really the potential for a tornado would be the highest over the next couple of hours into 12, 1, and 2 p.m. today. So that'll be it for today's update. I do appreciate all of y'all watching, and if you are new to the channel, welcome. I appreciate you being here, and please consider subscribing or liking the video if you are new. It would really help me grow my channel and just kind of widen my audience, and that would really help me out a lot. And I also do apologize for my voice being so rough today. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I know it's kind of a rough forecast, but I appreciate y'all who do watch my videos, and it really does mean a lot to me. But that'll be it for today's update, and I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's Monday.